Hello, it's Donna here at Blackberry Farm. Today we are fixing the tractor. Oh my god, it's naked. Did it blow up? Nope, we just took the bonnet off and the bonnet is lying over there. There it is. We were doing topping, which is cutting grass, last week. Started to get issues with power. Thought it might have been air intake, whatnot, but it started to puff blue smoke out of there. So I ended up checking the whole fuel system. We had to get an engineer in because I was trying all sorts of change filters and it wasn't happening. And it turns out we have a problem with one of these guys in here, which is one of them. This is an injector, a diesel injector. These are mechanical ones, not electric. You notice there's no plug bits for them. This is just a cap to stop any crap getting in. So we're going to show you how these work and what's happened. Now, if you come around here, you have your fuel tank there. Fuel tank. That comes along to the fuel lift pump there. That pressurizes your fuel and takes it into your filter there. That then goes around the other side of the engine. So we shall too. And it comes along this pipe here and goes through another tiny filter in here into your fuel injection pump. This pressurizes the fuel even more and puts it through all these tubes, 6 of them for individual cylinders in the tractor. Now, thanks to biofuels, what's happened is, with biofuels, with it being, say, rapeseed oil or whatever they're using to make your biofuel, it's either 5 or 10%, I'm not sure what it is in diesel now. Because it's a bio thing, then bacteria grows in it, not like normal mineral diesel. Don't get any bacteria in that. And it forms a sludge. It's like a sort of ginger algae, and it just clogs everything up. Now, for older machines, it's usually not too bad, but we had a bit of a disaster on this one. With the modern vehicles, it's a nightmare. This is the actual filters for a John Deere tractor. And you see they're glass, so you can see right through them. And it's handy because when you're doing stuff, you can see what's building up inside. If we have a look at this one, you'll see there's all sorts of crap in there. There's a little bit of water because it was raining earlier on. But we're going to empty this and let you see what actually is inside it. We would have 1 filter a year, sometimes 2 years, depending on what we're doing. Now we're running 3 filters a year. Some of the guys with the more modern tractors, if they're doing a lot of stuff, then it's a fuel filter every few weeks. So it kind of knocks out your carbon footprint a bit. Now, we have here a old 5 litre container that used to be for a wormer. Quick tip, if you've got to do any fluid drains for oil or whatever, get a 5 litre or a 10 litre container. Once it focuses, there we go. Cut the middle out, leave the top on, and then you can drain it into there, and you just take the top off, and you can pour it into whatever you're wanting. Makes it a lot easier to control. Right, we have our fuel filter. We're going to show you this crap that builds up in here. You see it? All those mucky, dirty bits and bacteria sludge. And you can see it in there. There's other bits in there. This is what clogs up our fuel filters from your biodiesels. So you can't recycle them, they have to go into the tip. So these are going into landfill, which isn't very eco-friendly. And there's nothing much we can do about it. So what's happened with us is we cleaned out all the other filters before when this happened. It's about 3 months ago, but it wasn't as bad. But we forgot to clean the filter in this. This is a lift pump. We even power washed the fuel tank. Hit a big bump. It's dislodged sludge from in here, shot it through into there, which is all the stuff we've just taken out of there. Look at that. and it spat some into the fuel injectors. So what we don't know what one it is. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to change all the fuel injectors and the glass fuel filter. So then we can recondition the injectors we take out, and we've got spares. So that's what we're going to do. The other thing we're going to be doing today, I'll just shove this out of the way just now, pop that up there, is we also suddenly discovered a leak on the hydraulics, and it was this. This is a reserve tank for our hydraulics, and it's just perished because it's an old pipe. It just split and popped off. So this was running down here, and it goes down into that bit. You think, how the hell are you going to get in there? This green bit down there is actually a plate that pops off, so we can work from it underneath dead easy, and there's plenty of room. So we're going to renew that pipe, but most definitely renew the injectors and get the tractor going again. So it won't miss fire, it won't smoke, and it'll run very nicely and very efficiently as they do. So there we go. More repairs to a John Deere. It's alright, you get used to it. So we're on top of the engine. We can see where we put a new injector before when this went wrong. So what we're going to do, we're going to cheat ever so slightly. We're going to undo that. We're going to undo that, and we're going to undo all the individual bolts on the injectors and pull the whole rail off, and those as well, because that's the injector one, that's the return pipe. And just dismantle everything. You then undo that bolt there, which is clamping it in, and you lift the whole injector out. You just put something underneath and pop it out, pull them out, shove the new ones in, and put the rail back on, and then you bleed them individually as it's running. So we put a spanner into here, and as we turn over the tractor, you just slowly shut them off as the air comes through and the bubbles start, and then that's it, you can start your tractor again. So here we go. Before we do any modifications, I just thought I'd let you hear and see what it's like when it's running a bit rough. And it might help you diagnose your own problems. So we've got the throttle about halfway, and that's what she's idling at. She should be idling about 8 to 900 or 800 anyway when the throttle's right down, and she's not. So we're going to fire her up a bit. That's her at full, and she's just basically on idle. There's hardly any fuel coming through. Dreadful, and it's smoky as hell in here. I don't know if you can see that. So there's basically unburnt fuel because it's not atomising at the injectors. So yep, let's get them changed. So that's top rail off. We're now going to be taking off these bits that go into the tops of the injectors. Now, drop a wee bit of oil or WD-40 onto these bits, because usually quite well rusted. You can see on this one, there's a lot of paint there. These haven't been off for at least 15 years since I got the tractor. That one has. That was changed recently. This one hasn't been off for long, same with that one. But you can see the wee rusty bits. If you don't, and you try to get this off, you can sometimes twist this pipe, and it causes all sorts of problems. You've got to renew the pipe or put a splice in, and also, you'll see, got two types of injectors. You've got the old type, which has got a nut that you undo. This is a more modern type, and it's just got a little slot there that these put into. If you don't and try to undo this, you're going to twist the injector, and if the injector's actually okay, then you're going to knacker it. So you need to put that in there, and that in there, so you can undo the big nut that holds on the pipe for the injector. So we'll get onto that bit now. Now, one thing, when you try to take injectors out, get a hold of a set of these little beasties. These are heel and toe pry bars, and they're absolutely brilliant for taking out the injectors. you can get a full set of them for 14 quid from the range. And all you do is you put this bit underneath the injector and lever it to pull. We tried with screwdriver and stuff and I ended up taking skin off my nickels and it wasn't very good. That one is a perfect size for doing it, and it makes it so much easier. Once you've lifted it so far out, the injectors just pull right out. So heel toe pry bars for taking out your injectors. So this is where we are just now. We have taken off 4 of the 6 injectors. This is number 1 and this is the worst looking one. That's what they look like when they're out. That's the business end that sprays the jet of fuel. This is what they look like new. And that's what the business end should look like. Nice and shiny and clean and able to spray fuel as a nice mist, and it's don't be doing that, so we're going to put this back in. This was absolutely soaking wet inside, so we're assuming this is the one that's got all the diesel just splattering around everywhere, not atomising. So we'll show you what the rest look like when we're finished, and we'll go and put this one back in. So that's the new injectors in. You see the little red covers just in there. Just make sure nothing gets in while we finish what we're doing. Now what we have to do now, thank you, what we have to do now is this little washer, or this little nut rather, was on here and it connects up to the top rail. Inside it, you can see in there, come on, there we go, is a washer. We need to hook that out and pop it onto here with this for putting back onto the rail. So we're about to do that. So if you wonder why we're hooking out the rubber washer, it's because I want to make sure it's nice and clean when it's joining up to the top rail. Because with us taking everything out, there's wee bits of dirt and that in it, so just a case of taking that out and cleaning it up before, as you can see there, to put it back on, and the nut underneath ready for the top rail going on. So that's the return rail on each individual injector, and there, and the other 4. We're now going to put these on, which are the actual injector pipes, the pressurised ones. So we have to make sure these are tightened up properly. And after that, we can have a shot and see if it starts. Right, that's all the injectors in and tightened up. That's the injector ports. This is the return rail. We're now going to try and start it up, and we'll find probably little leaks and that, and we'll tighten up as we go, and hopefully she'll start. We'll leave this one slightly undone until we pump through, and it allows the air to escape, and we should be able to start it. So see how it goes. One last job we're going to do before we start is this black box here is a fuel filter. We're going to take that off. We just put it on 2 weeks ago, but we expect to be crapping it from the tank, but I want everything fresh before we start. How you take it off, you push this little thing here, put a screwdriver in there and push, and it'll come down at the bottom, and then this pops off. I've got to use 2 hands because otherwise the diesel will piss everywhere. So there's where the filter was. This is the filter. This is a little thing. We're just going to see if there's any crap in here. I'm going to pour it out. Oh, there we go. Yep. It's only been in 2 weeks, and that's all the crap in the filter already. So we're going to put a brand new one on, and drop that in there, that'll do its thing. We'll then use this lift pump to squeeze fuel through and prime the injectors, and then try and start it. By the way, spot the difference. This is a proper glass filter for the John Deere. It allows you to see any sludge build-up or water build-up from your tank. That's what was in it. It's a metal one, enclosed. We actually ordered glass ones, but this was the crap they sent us. So, definitely out. And now we're going to shove this one in. Single hole at the top. Goes onto there. We're just going to give this a wipe, make sure that everything's all nice and clean, and then put it on. That's new one fitted. They're easy to fit. On the clamp there's a little clip there that hooks over that bit. You just wrap it around there, put it underneath, hold that in place, and you'll see there is a little nozzle that you saw at the start. It goes through the top hole. And all you need to do is push that as hard as you can. It will automatically clip in at the back, and that's it done. So now what we're going to do is prime it with the lift pump. There's a little lever here, that bit, pull that, and if you watch under there, focus on there. Yeah, it starts to squirt fuel in, and that will fill up the whole filter up to the top, and then it will start going through the injector. So it takes a wee while for this to happen. We're back in the move. So there is the fuel filter filled. It's nice and orange, the same colour as the red diesel. So we've squeezed it all the way up there. Now going to squeeze it all the way around and into the injectors. Clear as many airlocks as possible, and then start up the beastie. Vroom vroom. So we've done all the injectors, tractor starts, but we've no pressure. Well, we've got some pressure but not enough. And it's all to do with this, the pump. Now in this bit here is a filter, and what happens is the fuel comes in this bit, down here, because it's pressurised a little bit from the lift pump that you saw earlier on, comes into here. This is the main pressure point, and then it comes back out here into the injectors. In this bit is a little filter, and there's a regulator that opens and closes, a little piston, which is in this bit. And the little piston had popped out the bottom, spun round, so the whole thing was open. It's supposed to shoot up and down here. Come on, focus, you devil. There we go. And allow the fuel out different bits when it's priming and when it's pressurising. So it was priming all the time, and we weren't getting pressure. So we're going to put all this together. That's the filter there. Going to put all this back together, and try and start again and see what happens. There we go, sweet as a nut, it's working. So the little thing in there was upside down, and it wasn't letting the fuel go through into the pressure pump. So we've got our revs back, we've got power back, and as you can see up there, no smoke. So what we're getting through that now is what was left in the cylinders, and it's settling down fine. Before it was just blue reek or blue smoke that was coming out. Reek's a Scottish word for smoke. Far better. Power back, tractor working. We can put the bonnet back on now. Job done. And if you ever want to know how to switch your tractor off when you're outside, you just twist that. Because that's the thing that's connected to your puller inside the cab. And it'll just cut the fuel off and stop your tractor. Job's a good one. I can put it back together now. Now remember the broken hydraulic pipe that goes to the hydraulic pump as a return pipe. We've put a new one on there. We clip rubber pipe all the way down and clipped it underneath the hydraulic pump. So that's that all done. Now, how much did all this cost me? Well, if we'd got the injectors from John Deere, they were going to be £800 for 6 injectors. That's including the VAT. Then if we had an engineer to fix it, it'd probably be another 250 plus VAT on top of that. So it would have cost me £1,000 for an engineer to fit the new pumps in that tractor, the new injectors on that tractor. And probably a wee bit more to fit that, even though it's a couple of minutes. So by doing this job myself, how much did it cost me? It was £200 in total for the injectors, and it took me about 6 hours, because I was going back and forward doing different things, feeding sheep and chickens and stuff, to do the job in total. So I've saved myself roughly £1,000. So if you can do, and you'll hear me saying this through all the different videos, if you can learn how to work a spanner and you can do the repairs yourself, you can save yourself an absolute fortune, because agricultural engineers cost a lot of money. They're £60 an hour minimum, and sometimes they'll send 2 or 3 guys to do a job. So for each guy, that's another £60 an hour. 3 guys, £180 an hour. So see, if you can do the things yourself, whatever tractor you get, whatever machines you get a hold of the repair manuals, the service manuals, and read them. And you'll figure out how to do things. There's very seldom you can do something that's going to go catastrophically wrong. Only things I wouldn't touch in this, and I've said this before, is the gearbox and the clutches in there, because you've got to split the tractor apart to do that. We don't have the tools for it, and gearboxes and that are very, very sensitive. Tiniest bit out and the whole damn thing will just explode and turn to mush. So, there you go. So if you can do these things yourself, as I say, I've saved myself £1,000 doing this repair myself. It works fine. I'm going to put the bonnet on. This is the bonnet, upside down. What we'll have to do first though, you can see all the crud. I've just been using it for laying the stuff down. All the crud that's there, we're going to have to power wash all this first, because how you get the bonnet onto the tractor, you've got to get the end on, slide it up and slide it along, and then bolts go on. One bolt there, same the other side. We have to take off the diesel cap, air intake, the water cap, and the exhaust. If there's stuff on the inside of the bonnet as we slide it on, it's going to go into the diesel tank and into the water. We don't want that to happen, so we have to give it a good wash before we put it on. These were the injectors we took off, and as you can see, they just look dreadful. They're full of crud. They're just not good. And like we said, that's an old one. That's an old one. That's an old one. There's only 2 new ones in it. The other 4 were all the old style, so they've not been changed for a good 14-15 years. So hopefully it'll go another 14-15 years without needing maintenance or needing changed. So we're going to put it all back together. It works. I'm happy. Like I say, learn how to repair things yourself. Save yourself a fortune. We'll see you next time on Blackberry Farm.